Hi guys, welcome again. This time coming to you with 7 Wonders content, but again something different. The title of this video, what if 7 Wonders had patch notes? And that's what I'm going to discover. I'm going to talk about my 7 changes to 7 Wonders that will probably make it better. I'm pretty sure some of them will make it better. I haven't tested any of them, I think. So this is, take it with a grain of salt. But I've given a lot of thought to it. I just can't, can't test it because I don't have really a platform of testing without my real life friends, and we are all in kind of a lockdown. We are all not sick, I think, but we are keeping the social distance, so not meeting for board gaming. So here, 7 changes in 7 wonders. The star is for the changes that will be easily implemented at home. I kind of started with a base game and then went into each of the expansions. So here, first one. Duels in the first era cost 2 gold. That's a very simple change, and my reasoning for that, I would really love to try it, just because, remember how many free-player games you had when you are the only person without the double resource and you feel kind of sad. How many games have you had when you've seen someone take 2 or even sometimes 3 and you think that of course in 4-player games, and you think okay, this is kinda over, what can I do to make it work? So double resources are very powerful, and the cost of 1 gold, I think it's not really enough. They're still the first pick for most of the strategies except for green. My problem with that is that they actually earn you more gold that they cost, because you will get those money back, and you will get probably 2 money back at least, but probably much more. So my problem with them is that they are not priced enough. I think 2 gold will be reasonable. If there is a problem, we can think about starting with 4 gold, but I don't think that's necessary. I think that just changing it to 2 gold would be lovely. Okay, so next, again, speaking about the resources, as you can see, I played a lot of free player lately, so I'm thinking about the brown resources a lot. So let me scroll this maybe a little. So Caravansery, maybe not, because then you have spoilers. This way. Caravansery problems. There is a couple of problems with Caravansery. First, in 3-player games, and sometimes in 4-player, it lets you do stuff that no other player can, just because you only have access to, for example, third stone or stuff like that. Caravans, I don't think it's super overpowered, but generally, if you can grab Caravanserai, you will. And I think something has to be done with it, especially for 3 and 4 players. In 4 players, it's 25% of a chance that you'll get it, and that's a huge disadvantage. And also, sitting next to a player who has Caravanserai kind of screws you, because you are not getting any gold. So that's really bad. My first idea is just to make it 1 gold more, maybe even 2 gold more, but 1's probably a good start. If there were patch notes, that's what I would start with. And then there are a couple more adventurous things. First, make it so you have to have the resource, so you copy 1 into 2, on Catan board, or in the card from the cities, a resource that you don't have. Of course, strictly a brown resource. I think those 2 also copy a gray resource. Then you can make it kind of in 7 Wonders Duel, that it only has 3 resources. It has 3 resources because there are only 3 resources in 7 Wonders Duel. But you can still apply the same logic here. Maybe, make it so it's only a dual or only a triple, and then make different caravanserais, or you can just switch it out for forum. And this one, I'm sorry guys, and this one actually you can do with your own copy of Seven Wonders. You can actually switch another forum in 3 and 4 player games. In both of them there is a slight problem with gray resources, so that would be fixed by it. In 3 player also there is maybe a problem with not enough greening, so that would be something. I would like, that's not the best solution, that's like kind of a hack, but I would be very welcome to try it. I think Caravanserai is changes the game a little too much. I think something should be done about it. And then the 5th solution, probably the best one, just redesign it for another card, another economic card. I think that would be kind of best. Maybe something like a trade post of some kind. Maybe a trade post that gives you money at the start. You can think about a lot of stuff. I think in current form, that's the card most player has the most problem with. So that's just saying something. And then the 3rd one, this is a big change. I did think about rebalancing all the starting wonders. In my opinion, as of the game that's that old, the balance is really good, but it doesn't mean that it couldn't be better. And here I have a couple goals. First, Bad Wonders better. You can see my tier list, for example, for 4 players. For 3 players, it's a little different, but yeah, Giza is trash, basically. Not trash, but like, you never want to play Giza. Like, nobody would pick Giza in 3 or 4 player game, except if it's a team game, maybe. But in a normal game, you wouldn't do that. Then I want to choose, like, I want to make A-sides better. When there's like clear winner, I want to change that. And I don't want to break any rules. So A-sides should be still 3, something 7, and stuff like that. There shouldn't be anything too crazy. So first, we have Alexandria. Alexandria has a very simple change. Just make first stage cost double wood. And all my changes are kind of like separate from each other. I didn't think about the whole picture. I thought about it a little, but they are still like all in vacuum. Or for example, you can just make one change. I think they will work good when thrown together, but they all should be treated separately. So here, just change it to 2 wood. Wood is a resource that's a lot of. Stone is something that's probably the worst resource. Not probably, it's the worst resource in the first age. So I just wanted to make this stage a little more buildable early, so you can kind of rush the second stage and then think about doing something with it. Not a big change, but I think it would be a little better for Alexandria A. Alexandria A doesn't need that much help, I think. You can see a lot of my games when I'm actually playing A and choosing A, and I think it was the correct choice. It's more rare now, but with this change I think it would be a little more frequent. Then we have Babylon A, and Babylon, this is a start of a couple of changes. Basically 4 resources of one kind is too many. You need doubles usually for it, and that's just, or Caravanserai, and that's just, I think, a problem, especially in like 3 player games. If you see the new wonders that they design, there is no forecast anymore, nowhere to be found. There is none on Byzantium, there is none on Syracuses, and there is none on Great Wall and stuff like that. I think they realized that this is not a good thing to have. 4 resources is just too much. So my pick is Free Clay, Cloth, and Papyrus. This of course needs to be tested, but I think it's reasonable. It's still 5 resources, so it's hard. wonder to build, but it's actually much easier to have those resources because you don't really need for clay, for anything else, but you do need free clay for some stuff. Then we have Colossus, and I would still leave 4 gold on Colossus B, just because I think it's powerful enough. But here I'm changing A, and I would actually play A more often with this change, I think. And that would be very interesting, I think. Colossus 3R plus battle. It can be also 3R plus battle plus some other gray resource or brownish resource. This would have to be tested, but right now I think Colossus A is still kind of a meme. What I need from Colossus A basically is to not have 4R, and that's the reason why I think this change is pretty nice. Then we have Ephesus A. As you can see, I posted both of Ephesus's here, just so you can compare. It's 10 points versus 10 points and 9 gold versus 12 gold, and I think this is easier than this. Two papyrus is easier than each of the refined resource. So I think that the gold for the second stage should be more, and also you are getting access to it later, so that's harder. So I think it should be 13 or 14 gold. I would go with 14, I think. But maybe it should be 13. That's why I left 13 and 14. So yeah. Then we have Giza A and B, and that's basically a continuation of my changes to costs, to four stone costs. One is changing to Cloth Battle, the other to Papyrus and Battle. That was just my idea. I'm not really married to any of them, to many of these ideas for the costs, but that's just like a rule that I would try to follow. This would all have to be tested. I just wanted to have them different costs, so you kind of have, a choice when you know what your neighbors are. And the last one is Halicarnassus, the biggest changes of all of them. First, stage A of Halicarnassus, I think, is the worst of the game. Really, like the 10 points are nice, but picking a card from this card that you usually have to do in the second era, that like there is no way that you'll get third era cards in there, is just terrible. You are just getting scraps, and if you are throwing something to build it, that's just you are just wasting your turn usually, so that's not really good. Adding 2 victory points, I think, is reasonable. I would still play the second one probably, but maybe I would think about it. I don't know. I think this is with those both changes. The other one is changing from 210 to 012. Because I think the stages should be more powerful instead of less powerful, and that's the case with Halicarnassus. I understand why that is, because you are getting scraps at the start, so the 2 and 1 point there were kinda to provide balance, so the stage is more like 3, 5, 7, but I think that's a fail. What I would also consider is just 1-1-1, make all the stages the same, and that would also be a reasonable change. But I think Halicarnassus is the most powerful wonder in almost any scenario, except sometimes Ephesus is. So my change is 0-1-2. Halicarnassus B, of course, is the most powerful. That would be very reasonable. And the last wonder, Olympia, no changes. I think it's good as it is right now. It's not the most powerful wonder, but both sides are playable. Then we go into the expansions. And first we have leaders. I went chronologically with the expansions. So normally in leaders you get 4 leaders, draft 1, pass, and just do a draft. and you draft all the leaders. Here I would propose a different kind of draft. I really understand why it wasn't in the game, but if you are a seasoned player, I think you can easily use this, and I think it will be deeper and better, because a huge problems with leaders is not knowing what others players have. That's one of my main issues with leaders. Here you will have the knowledge, and you shouldn't, like when you draft, you should open the leaders so everyone can see kinda what they have. This is a Rochester draft, I think it's called. And basically, you open, you lay down, there will be 2 rounds. In the first round, you lay twice the leader cards, random leader cards, as there are players. So in 3 players, there will be 6 cards. Then, first player chosen randomly picks 1, then the next player picks 1, then the next player picks 2 this time, because he picks 1, and then you go back. He picks 2, then the former player picks 1, and then the first player drafting picks the last card. That way, you kind of have, reasonable power level, because the first player will choose the best card and the worst card. And the middle player will pick the 2 best cards, so he kind of can pick a combo between them. And then we do the second round, where the last player is picking first now. In this scenario, B is never picking the same card twice, but that's okay, because he's picking second and one before last. So yeah. So you end up with 4 leaders. This will take more time for sure, just a little bit, but this will make it much more strategic. And you can actually see what's in the pool, and you can actually pick what you know. But there is still some mystery because of the 2 rounds of the pods. I really think that that's how you should play leaders. The huge disadvantage, of course, is the time. But you'll get much better game as it is. With more players, if I would like to play with 8 players, for example, this is of course a little troublesome, but I don't really recommend playing with 8 players. I think 3, 4 and 5, that's where 7 Wonders really shines, and I think this is reasonable for that player count. Then we have cities. I really like cities. Until Armada, this was my favorite expansion. And this is a very simple change. This card, what I call Black Lighthouse, I think should always be in the pool. Why? Just because it makes black cards a strategy. And that's really fun. Then you can kinda, pile on the black cards. And if you are playing with leaders for black, this is just better. There is also a problem if you are introducing Armada, then the black cards are kinda weaker, and that way they're less weaker, less weak. So that's really good. Like I always like the games where this cards is in the pool, so I thought that just throw it always in the pool. This is a 3rd era card, and I think it should be there. Alternatively, you can throw it like with the guilds, and just make it so it's always as one of the guilds, and just pick 1 guild less. You can do all kinds of stuff. But this is a change that you can try at home also. And here, Armada. I kinda cheated here a little. I have 2 propositions. First is that the stuff with the greens, it's the symbol that you have the least, not the most. Just so you don't have the huge chains of 1 symbol that will give you 100 points for 10 cards, because that's just busted. What I would propose is actually changing plus to a minus here. That way you will have the least of. I did ask the designer on Twitter some time ago why this isn't the case, and he said that people were kind of confused in the playtest, so that's why they changed it. It was that at the start, and I think confusion of players is not a good enough reason for this change. And then the last one is for aesthetics. I think aesthetics matter. And here, as you can see, it all kind of makes sense. Here you get -1 for how many the era is. And then the strongest one gets one better token than the era that you are in, that you would normally get. For the second place, you just get the token that you would normally get for winning a fight. And for the third, you get one less, except for the second era where you get nothing here. And that's just, you know, I don't know why they did that. You just throw 1 point here. Just you know, copy 1 point. So it's like, it goes like 3, 3, 3, 1, 1. Here you can even pick 1, but you shouldn't because there is nothing here. So 3, 3, 3, 1, 1, 5, 5, here nothing, and here 7. And it's just all make much more sense. And you do not need the table then. You can just, you know, follow the advice that the rules that I gave you. This is I think this is just a small but omission, and it should be changed. And then the 7th one is for all expansions. When you throw a couple of expansions, I think the rules should be followed. Cap science symbols at 7 most in one suit. So if you have 8, you are still, or you can, 8 you can treat like 7 plus 1. So you are starting a new one, but you really should cap them just because I told you. I think I got 100 points once with 10 symbols, with armada, leaders, and cities, and that's just busted. You cannot win against it. You just can't. Like if you are getting 100 points from 10 cards, and there is much more cards in the pool, you are just winning. And that's just broken. 7 I think is a good enough, because then the card would give you 7 points plus something maybe from the sets. But that's reasonable enough, and also that's 7 wonders, so that's easy to follow. Okay, guys, let me know what you think. If you test this, please let me know how it went. This was a really fun project for me. I hope you enjoy it. See you later. Bye.